I welcome you over this new device we've started calling the radio. You're listening to me over the radio waves right now across the whole country. Problems, problems, problems. All we've had for the last few years is problems. It feels like America has fallen into a hole. Coming out of that was terrible. Overspending. We had the stock market crash, weak banks, and a number of other things that caused the Great Depression. After that, the overspending spilled over into the roaring 20s, where we were not good stewards of our money. It brought along the stock market crash. And at the same time, a perfect storm caused a dust storm in Central America. Migrant workers were told, there are no jobs for you here, go home. So I call out to you across this new radio, the first president to do this. All presidents before have had to have just talked to groups of people, but I can call to all of you across the radio. And so I do this over our fireside chats. And you can listen and hear what I am going to do to get rid of these problems. It's been very hard to feel content.
You actually hurt your leg.
Content. What is content? Who thinks they can tell me? Being content, feeling content. Feeling happy. Encouraged. The meaning of content is feeling satisfied or happy. It doesn't mean super duper happy and excited all the time, but it does mean feeling satisfied. When you're hungry, it means eating enough to be satisfied. It doesn't mean eating all the things you want to make you feel super happy. When you've had a long day and you're tired, it means relaxing on the couch. It doesn't mean doing the most fun thing to make you happy. It's less about being happy and more about being thankful for what you have. If it were on a scale of somewhere between happy and sad, it'd be closer to happy. Why is all this important? Well, we need to talk about how people felt during the Great Depression. And it seems like we needed a little bit of encouragement. I know what it is to be in need because I had polio. My name is President Franklin Delano Roosevelt. And yes, that name does share the same name as somebody I know. I used to have polio when I was a child, and now I can't walk properly. I had to spend my life in a wheelchair, even though I got to become president. So I know what it's like to feel suffering. The Bible tells us this. The Bible tells us, I know what it is to be in need. I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content through Him who gives me strength. You want to try that with me? I can do everything through Him who gives me strength. Who's Him? Call it out.
God!
Amen. Jesus Christ our Lord. I've got some first graders who are going to give us some encouragement with a Bible verse that we've been learning. So, as you listen over the radio, I want you to listen to this song, which is all about how people might have encouraged themselves with God's promise. Say, I got this. I got this. All right, you ready? Here we go. Hey guys, I can't even walk now. All right, 3, 2, 1. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted and saves those who are crushed in spirit. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. Yeah. Everybody stand up in your own space. Go along as best you can. The words go like this. The Lord is close, to the brokenhearted, and saves those who are crushed in spirit. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
The Lord is close to the brokenhearted
And
saves those who are crushed in spirit. The Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. Yeah.
Nice job. Give first grade classes. Without talking, give yourself a little gentle pat on the back and get yourselves ready to listen in for how this president was going to solve these problems. Franklin Delano Roosevelt came up with a bunch of ways to try and solve this problem. And today, we're going to name some of the ways that the government tried to help get people out of the Great Depression. You may have noticed that the first 4 lessons are pretty sad. But this lesson brings a little bit of hope because someone comes along to try and rescue the country out of the Great Depression. The other thing we're going to look at is we're going to figure out how the Great Depression ended. Because it did end. So, before we do that, we've got a couple of words we need to look at. We've already looked at content. The next word is the word community. Community means a group of people who are all together in one neighborhood. And communities can be small like a neighborhood, or they can be a big community like the United States. Solutions. Take a look at this. If your car breaks down, you got to find a way to fix it. If your car broke down, would you not fix it? Would you be like, so you'd probably try and fix it. This economy. You may notice that there are 4 pictures. There's one of a farmer. There's a bank. There's a person shopping, and there's a shop. That means that the money moves around all those different people. So the same money that you go and spend at the store may be in someone else's wallet later on. And it gets moved around, and that's called the economy. So, the first thing we're going to talk about is a community. Come on, systems. That was close. So, let's stay here. The first thing we need to know is this. A healthy body is kind of like a healthy community. If you've got a healthy body, you can do lots of jobs. Your arms don't feel tired, your legs can run, you can talk pretty fast, but if you're not feeling healthy, you kind of talk a little bit slower like this, because we just don't have the energy today, Mr. Crown. Or your pencil might go a little slower on your paper, right? Or you might just be like, head down on the table. Not even able to work. A healthy body is like a healthy community. So, what would it look like if your community fell apart? As in, imagine that one day you got sick and needed to go to the doctor, but when you turned up to the doctor wasn't there. Or imagine turning up to school, don't celebrate this, and half the teachers were not there anymore, and you were not able to be taught. At first that might seem fun, but after a while, you wouldn't be learning. Every day, we expect people to be there in the same places. That's our community. So, I've got a story here. And as we read through the story, click on that next slide. I've got a story here, and this is a story that was written in 1939, closer to the end of the Great Depression, right as World War II was beginning. And it's called Mike Mulligan and his steam shovel. And as we read through this, take a look at the pictures and see, can you spot different people that you would see working in your community? Like doctors, teachers, and others. And as you listen, I want you to think about what are some things that Mike Mulligan builds with his steam shovel. When this book was written, a few new things that were created in the country, like airports, canals, roadways, trains, trucks, lots of parks and trails. I wonder why those things were created. Whisper to a buddy and ask them, why would you create a huge amount of things for the country all in one go? Go for it. Mike Mulligan and a steam shovel. Mike Mulligan had a steam shovel, a beautiful red steam shovel. Her name was Mary Ann. Mike Mulligan was very proud of Mary Ann. He always said that she could dig as much as a day, she could dig as much in a day as 100 men could dig in a week. But he had never been quite sure that this was true. When Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann, that's his shovel, had been digging together for years and years, Mike Mulligan took such good care of Mary Ann that she never grew old. It was Mike Mulligan and Mary Ann and some others who dug the Great Canal. So a couple of things I wanted you to look out for. You can whisper to your buddy when I say go. First thing, how did you see a community? And name some people in the community. And then the other thing I want to ask you is, what were some things that Mike Mulligan built before he built the cellar? Ready? Before we answer that question, we're gonna look at what a community looks like, a healthy community. So, a healthy body is like a healthy community. I want you to imagine that this healthy body has all these different parts. A teacher, a policeman, oops, that's a mailman. A policewoman, a military person, all of these can be seen as healthy parts of a community. Baker, and others. Now, if that community is working well, money is moving around that community. And if that community is working well, you can go to the doctor and you can be seen and go home. If this community is working well, you can go to school and be taught and go home. If this community is working well, you can go to your baker, buy some bread, and go home. But during the Great Depression, some of these people were not here when they needed to be. Because they started to lose their jobs. Or you might have been someone else who lost your job. Now there are a range of jobs here, but there's not all jobs. We can see this as a community build-up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to choose one of these people in here, which is going to be our fireman, and I'm going to have one volunteer dress up as a fireman. Somebody's a big hole. Imagine walking down the street and seeing holes like this all over the place. Holes so big that cars fall into them. Holes so deep that you can't climb out by yourself. So, fireman, you almost ready? What's no? Fire lady. Anything stop over here? One day, she was walking along this way, and she was going to do her job, and then one day she fell straight into the hole, and she couldn't get out by herself. Now, we had the president at the time who came along, and his name was President Hoover. Are you in the hole? Can you get out of the hole by yourself? I'm going to really need you to get out of the hole by yourself. You see, there are a bunch of other people who have fallen into the hole as well, and I can't afford to pay for all those people to get out of the hole. So, what can you do? Have you seen any Bear Grylls? Okay, let me think. Well, I'll see if I can just wait until you can get out of the hole, okay? And as they did this, more and more people started falling into the hole. It wasn't a real hole they fell into, but it meant that they lost their jobs. And as the time went on, there was 125 million people in the country. 17 million people lost their jobs at the height of the Great Depression. And Mr. President Hoover said, I don't really want to go ahead and give a whole bunch of money. Instead, what I want to do is we're just going to wait and see what happens. And we're going to try to hope that people will get their jobs back and then it'll go back to normal. He tried a couple of different things, but by the time his presidency was up, the problem was much worse. Along came President Roosevelt, and he said, we've tried to get this person out of the hole. We've tried a couple of things, but now we're going to do everything we can to get them out of the hole. And the first thing he did was set up his 100 days where he talked about relief, recovery, and reform. And here's the first one. Are you in the hole? How long have you been in the hole for? 100 days? Oh my goodness. Okay. What's the first thing that you might need if you're in the hole? Or do you have any water? We're going to get you some water and some food. So, throw water and food down the hole. Because the first thing that people needed was they needed food so that they could survive. Because they didn't have jobs. So, you've been stuck in the hole for a little while. You've got some food. You've got some water. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to get you out of the hole. And this was kind of like when they got them a job. Getting out of the hole was kind of like getting a job. So then the president helps the fireman get out of the job. But when the person gets them out of the job, they realize there's more problems. The fireman can't go back to work because their job was given away to somebody else. So the president thinks to himself, how can I get this fireman back to work? What am I going to do to try and get this fireman back to work? If you were the president and there were millions and millions of people stuck in holes or they didn't have jobs, what would you do? Whisper to a buddy what you think you might do. to give money to people straight away. He didn't want to create jobs straight away for people because he thought that that would just make people dependent on the government. And he said, I'm sorry, I'm not willing to do that. But the second president said, we've been in a depression now for 4 years, and it's time for us to do anything we can and everything we can. So, the next thing that he did was after he got these people out of the hole, he started giving them jobs. But because jobs didn't exist, he had to make up jobs. That's where our book comes in. Because he said, all right, I've got a whole bunch of projects I was kind of thinking of doing. I was thinking that it would be really cool to have a whole bunch of airports because we're eventually going to need those, but we didn't have the money to make them. I was thinking about having a whole bunch of parks and trails, but we didn't have the money to make them. I was thinking about making railroads, but we didn't really have the money to make them. Now instead what they did was he said, we're going to spend the money even though we don't have it, and we're going to make up jobs so that people can go to work. So, thank you, my fireman. You can go and sit down. Give our fireman a little clap. Great. Okay. Here's the line. It goes, zap it, make it. Try with me. Zap it, make it happen. Okay. You can think of, if you remember anything, remember this. President Roosevelt was kind of like the zap it, make it happen president. He tried everything he could to try and get people new jobs and get people back to where they were. So, I'm gonna say a problem. You're gonna say zap it, make it happen. And then I'll tell you what the solution was that he came up with. Okay. President Roosevelt, I don't have a job. I will create the Civilian Conservation Corps and give you a job to work on parks. Mr. Roosevelt, I don't have any money for retirement after I finish working. What will I do? I'm going to create the Social Security Act so that you can save money with this new act. Mr. Roosevelt, I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to lose my money and not have any money for my house. I'm going to create the Federal Housing Administration, and I'm going to help people keep their homes. But Mr. President, I don't have any money to buy a home in the first place. Don't worry about it. I'll create something called the Homeowners Loan Corporation, and I'll help you buy your first home. I can't afford bread because it's 10 cents and I've only got 2 cents. Don't worry about it. I'll just change the way that money, how much gold is worth, and you'll be able to afford it. Mr. President, I can't contact my friends across the country. Don't worry about it. I'm going to improve the country's phones. I'm going to take control of them so that we can have phones and electricity across the country. Mr. President, I'm a little bit worried that I'm going to lose my farm. Oh, don't worry about it. Let's just create another program. This one's going to help farmers keep their farms. But Mr. President, on the farm, the soil is all terrible from the Dust Bowl and nothing's working properly. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm going to create the Soil Conservation and Domestic Allotment Act. And I'm going to help heal the soil. All right, we'll do one more. Mr. President, even if I work on the farm, I don't think I'm going to get enough pay. Don't worry about it. I'm going to create the Fair Labor Standards Act, and I'm going to help people get enough pay. These exact cards. And you're going to play a game with these cards for the next 20 minutes. And here's how it's going to work. In your group, you're going to get these cards. they're going to go face down on the ground. You're going to get this little game board where you're stuck in a hole. At the bottom of the hole, at the bottom of the hole, you can see that there are these symbols right here. There's housing needs, money needs, work needs, or job needs, food needs, and the need to build our country back up. And so you are all going to start with your tokens that you've got in your boxes at the bottom of these, as in you're at the bottom of each of these holes. And every time you turn over a card, you're going to say, Zap, Zap, and your teacher is going to read to you what the card did.
A telephone is like a tool, right? Henry, you want to draw the next card?